Hey everybody, welcome to another Planter Grow Night. We are kicking off week 5 of a quarter-long growing period. It's all about slow growers, tomatoes, peppers, growing more indoors with LED grow lights. Should be a fun time. Really excited to have you here with us, and we're going to cover a lot of different things through this part. But first, let's do a quick recap of who we are, what we're doing, all the basics here. So if you're unfamiliar with us, we are Planter. It's at indoorgardenmarket.com. We are teaching people how to grow food indoors year-round using LED grow lights. It can be soil, it can be hydroponics, it can be a combination of those things. Really, whatever way you want to grow, we're here to help you do that. So before we kick things off, I'd really love to know, is anyone out there growing tomatoes or peppers during this quarter-long cycle? If you are, please drop a comment in the chat below. We'd love to hear from you. Maybe share a couple of pictures or anecdotes about how everything's going. And it's a lot of fun. So thanks so much for joining us here. And really, the goal here is to understand that it's now possible to grow more than 75 pounds of food in less space on a coffee table with LED grow lights. This capability is pretty new, really only been around for a couple of years. But we're here to support you through that at our website, which is indoorgardenmarket.com. We do that in a variety of different ways. Planter Grow Nights every Saturday on a variety of channels. You can subscribe through our website, indoorgardenmarket.com. And we have live in-person events as well. So if you happen to live near one of our growing areas, Northern Virginia, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Vancouver, Washington, we do live events as well. So if you're just joining us, welcome. We are going to kick things off here, talk a little bit about indoor food growing with LED grow lights. And if you are growing food indoors, please share with hashtag #MyIndoorFoodGarden on all social channels. We'll watch for those and we'll share those periodically as part of our grow nights. So it's really exciting. Tonight, we're actually going to cover slow growing crops, trellising, pruning, and pollinating, light, water, and nutrients for your fruiting crops. And then we're going to do a quick community update and then talk about next week. So let's kick things off and just kind of overlay exactly what are slow growing crops. So those are typically fruiting plants. They can grow under LED grow lights, tomatoes, peppers, strawberries, cucumbers. You could do small lemon trees, dwarf fig trees, eggplants, orange trees, dwarf melons. All of these are fine. There's a lot of great ways of growing indoors. So one thing I always like to emphasize when we kick things off here, you don't have to only do this. It's not like we're saying just go out and only grow indoors. For most people, indoors is their only option. They don't have a backyard. They don't have a balcony. They don't have time, experience. Almost anything. When you're growing indoors, you add a +1 to your growing, and it really helps out a lot. So how much does that mean practically, over the course of a year? Well, your dwarf fruit plants are really going to give you 2 full cycles per year on average. If you're growing in soil and you're really taking care of them, so you can grow 2 full crops of tomatoes indoors. Basically every 6 months, you're going to cycle off and you're going to do a new crop. The dwarf varieties of these plants, whether that's a tomato, a pepper, or a cucumber, they typically are going to grow out to full production about 3 months. They're going to be harvestable for about 3 months after that. So every 6 months, you're going to cycle them out and you're going to put in a new bunch of plants in here. So really different than the herbs. The herbs will cycle out every 4 times per year. So every 3 months, you're going to do another harvest. You're going to start a new group of these herbs or greens. They are super productive indoors, again, because you're growing 12 months out of the year under LED grow lights. There's lots of ways of getting the benefits of this. So let's jump over into just a quick highlight. So this is actually soil growing under LED grow lights. These are Tiny Tim dwarf tomatoes that you see growing inside of the system on the left here. This is an example of a cloth 5-gallon system. It's sitting on top of a tray, so you're watering it from the top. As you'll probably notice, these dwarf-sized plants are really compact. They bush, and many of them are self-pollinated, which we'll talk about in a second. But super easy to grow these indoors, and you can get a lot of growth for them. Main thing to consider here is you want to have around 100-watt, like standard LED grow light to be successful. Another great way of growing is actually from the Let Pot self-watering pot. So there's a QR code up there on the left if you want to check it out. Self-watering pots are pretty neat because, as you'll see, I've got a different variety of these tomatoes growing. This self-watering pot actually has a reservoir at the bottom. The roots are going to grow down into that water, and they are going to just pull up the nutrients in the water as needed. Nice thing about this, consistent watering for the plants. So you do need to check, make sure that it's topped off, periodically. But it discourages the growth of fungal gnats, even in soil, because the soil's not really wet. It's the roots that are going down, pulling up the water that they need. And so they're going to be super happy over time. So something to consider as you are looking at your options. So soil is a great option. It's going to allow you to do your growing indoors. And as you notice, I just pointed at a flower. So to give you a sense of it, 2 weeks after you see that flower, you're going to get those green tomatoes. And then 2 weeks after that, you're going to start to see those red tomatoes pop up. So really great way of growing indoors. Another way to do that would be to use a system kind of like this one here. This is actually a grow mesh system. It's planted out with different varieties. So I've got some greens that are early stage. Now keep in mind, those greens are going to be growing out probably right around the time that I'm going to be starting to harvest tomatoes. I'm going to pull the greens out. They have shallow roots. They sit in these little pockets inside this grow mesh system, which is made in the US, by the way. It's one of the few systems out there. It's actually going to be able to produce year-round for you inside. Really stable, doesn't need any kind of app or complex things. You just pop the plants into those pockets, you add your lights, and you grow. Happy Leaf LED lights are what's powering this particular system, and works really great. 30 watts, so very, very efficient over what you might have from these other types of systems. So I'll talk a little bit about trellising and things of that nature. Let me shift that out and change our captions here. So let me hide those for a second here. So different ways of trellising. Indoors gives you a lot of different options. You can do a clip-on grid so that those plants can grow out and then climb up, which you see on the left. Center, like the middle of the top row, a trellis framework. So this could be some PVC piping that's just put up, and then the plants will grow across those. You can do a vertical netting, easy to do. That would be on the right-hand side there, and or down below, kind of traditional ways you might grow outdoors. And you could bring these indoors very easily. Tomato cage, which you saw in my earlier video, bamboo stake, tripods, trellis, or like metal tower. Tons of options here. The great thing about this, you're doing it indoors, so you have the option of doing this year round. You don't have to sacrifice a perfectly good tomato plant just because it starts to get cold outside. You're controlling the elements, you're getting all of the benefits, and you're doing it 2 times per year. So it's really, really powerful. Next up, we have pruning tips. Something to keep in mind about this process. I mean, there's a lot of things you can say about pruning indoors, especially for these kinds of plants. Here's just one thing to watch out for, and that would be the suckers. So the sucker, that's basically a shoot that's coming in the center between the two, either the main branch or the side branch here. Those typically won't produce flowers. They would use up a lot of energy and resources, and they're not going to get you to the flowering stage and then to the fruiting stage after that. So just keep that in mind, that that's generally not helpful. And if you're just joining us, let me bring up our free program here. So we are Planter, and we have a free indoor food growing training program. Here's your QR code for it. Sign up. It has tips and tricks emails, weekly emails to remind you about our planter grow night, which you'll see right now. Lots of help. We also have things we recommend to get you started growing as well. Easy to do. You can do it year round, 12 months out of the year, you can be growing. And if you are doing that, then it's possible to grow up to, let me bring that back up so everybody sees it one more time. Because of the efficiency of LED grow lights, hydroponics, soil growing indoors, you can grow more than 75 pounds of food in less space than a coffee table with LED lights. Relatively new capability. We've been growing for centuries, millennia as humans. Now, for the first time in human history, we've got options, two options. Grow outside under the limited and difficult conditions, or grow inside as much as you want, as long as you're willing to devote, about 4 square feet or about the same size as a coffee table. So super exciting time to be alive. I think it's fascinating, and we just have so much we can do now. So if you've ever grown outdoors, probably about this time you're thinking, okay, fruiting plants, they've got flowers, usually bees, there's pollination involved. Well, there's a couple of ways of handling that. You can actually do that yourself. So if you've got a makeup brush, you can actually move the pollen around. Having multiple plants certainly helps. So that if you're growing in a vertical space, you can actually give them a shake, knock them around a little bit, and then the pollen will fall through. In addition to that, there's a lot of types of fruiting plants that don't need a pollinator. They are self-pollinating. And so we've got quite a few of those outlined inside of our Future Green Thumb community, which is really helpful. If you haven't checked out the Grow Mesh, we've got the QR code up there. That's made in the US. It's the most inexpensive hydroponic system that I know of to grow, way below grocery store prices for those systems. And they work really amazing, really easy. So moving on, the lighting requirements. It's often talked about. There's lots of different things that you can look at. You can consider the light intensity, PPFD. Different levels of those can optimize your plants. Light duration. So generally you want 16 to 18 hours for seedlings. Vegetative stage, where it's growing the body of the plant, you'll want 12 to 16 hours. And then the flowering or fruiting stage, somewhere between 12 to 16 hours. Don't really have to go as hard or as heavy, especially if you've got really good, efficient grow lights. Like the Happy Leaf lights, which we've got the QR code up there on the side of the screen there for you on the upper left. Lots of different kinds of lights out there, but honestly, many of these are going out of style. Like T5s are not as common. The HIDs, not as common. CFLs, not really that common. Most everything is shifted to LED grow lights. Very energy efficient. They produce tons of light, and you can optimize the light as much as you like, but generally speaking, the lights overall, a white light, LED grow light, it's just going to be good overall for what you want to do. So you don't need to worry too much about this, get into the weeds with the light intensity, PPFD, all of that stuff. Do get that light duration. You do need extra lights in order to make this work. You can't put these plants in front of your window and hope that you're going to get results. Not enough sunlight, not enough time that sunlight is on your plants. So you got to have extra lights. But flip side here is that those lights are amazing now, and they're extremely energy efficient. So we've got lots of great options for you. Okay, next up on the list, so nutrient needs. Your basic nutrients are nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. These are going to give you the growth that the plant needs overall. So it's going to build that strong body. It's going to be able to, say, hold a tomato or a cucumber later on. Secondary nutrients that are important are calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. If you're growing hydroponically, those are generally baked into the hydroponic nutrients already. Other micronutrients that you might want: iron, manganese, zinc, boron, copper, molybdenum. All of these are also important, but again, if you're using a pre-made nutrient mix, which you should, these are going to be baked into it. Micronutrients are great, and then there's different stages. So when you're in the seedling stage, you want low NPK. So generally a watered down version of these nutrients. Then when you get to the vegetative stage, high nitrogen. That helps those plants grow larger bodies. Flowering stage requires a boost of phosphorus, and it's helpful to kind of blend the nutrients between the different stages. There are nutrient systems, like for example, the one that Grow Mesh uses that's pre-balanced. You don't really need to worry about this stuff. It's going to get you good results without worrying about it, generally speaking. When you get to the fruiting stage, if you can do a high potassium or a balanced nutrient portfolio or profile, that's really going to help you out to get the maximum amount of production. But if you're just watching this, you're probably new. Totally great. That's why we're here. We get you started from a black thumb and shift you into a green thumb by growing indoors food year round, 12 months out of the year. So I'm actually gonna throw up our free form here. So we have an indoor food growing training program that is available year round, and you can start any month. You can grow as much as you want. In our experience, you can grow 4 full cycles of greens and herbs, 12 months out of the year. You can grow 2 cycles every 6 months of your fruiting plants. So when you add in, the numbers of plants, like if you have a vertical hydroponic system and you've got, say, 6 tomato plants, 6 cucumbers, you are going to produce a tremendous amount, and not completely replace the grocery store, but you're going to be eating tomatoes and cucumbers year round. It's possible to get almost all the way there. Greens and herbs, you can absolutely replace the grocery store now. Tons of ways to do that, very space efficient as well. So join the free indoor food growing training program. Just scan that code right there and come and join us. We've got lots of great resources to help you get going, and you get to join the community as well. So something super important about indoor growing as well is you actually have a good opportunity to use a drip irrigation system. We've got a drip irrigation system here on the left side of the screen as you're facing it. This is going to deliver nutrients and water right to the plant. You don't want too much water. You want that soil to be kind of like a sponge all the time. And the drip irrigation systems work really well for that. The one that I've used successfully is actually this one. It's great because it comes with a external reservoir. So you can put these irrigation system up across many plants indoors underneath your lights, connect that external reservoir to it, set it up using the Wi-Fi and an app, and then you just let it grow. So it really takes all of the complexity out, puts it on autopilot. If you need to take a vacation, you got to travel for work for a week, no problem. Attach your reservoir with a little bit of nutrients to it. Your plants are going to be super happy, and you're going to get great results. So there's lots and lots of ways to do this. Again, you can use soil, you can use hydroponics, you can use a combination of those things. The sky's the limit here. As long as you have LED grow lights, you can grow a huge amount indoors. And if you are just joining us, you're not sure who we are. We're actually Indoor Garden Market. Planter is the name, and we grow food all year at indoorgardenmarket.com. You can join us. We have amazing help for you to get going. We've got free classes every month. We have digital courses that you can purchase if you just wanted to learn how to do it on your own. We've got a community as well, lots of different things. And of course, the goal here, as we mentioned before, learn how to grow more than 75 pounds of food in less space than a coffee table with LED grow lights. It's possible now to do that. You don't need to have a backyard. You don't need to have a balcony. You don't need to wait for the sun to be in the right part of the world to make you a good grower. You can do it. Think of it as a +1. So if you're growing outdoors, amazing. Keep doing that. Add in indoors, because that gets you 12 months of the year growing. So it's pretty special. If you're looking for any additional growing supplies, we could recommend HTG Supply right there. That will give you access to pretty much everything you need. Hydroponic supplies, nutrients, a lot of the things we mentioned here. Really, really helpful. And that concludes week 5 of our Plant Your Grow Night. Thanks so much for joining us. Coming up next week on Saturday, August 2nd, the next part of our indoor food growing training program, free to join anytime, that is going to be indoor garden show and tell and recipe share. So we're going to ask anyone who's been growing out there to submit a couple of pictures of what they're growing, and you can actually use our hashtag. The hashtag is myindoorfoodgarden on all social channels. We'll find somebody who actually did that, and then we're going to highlight it in the next week. So if you've been growing food indoors, if we helped you, amazing, happy we could. If we didn't help you, we'd still love to hear from you and what you're growing and how are you using it, because it is a brave new world of indoor food growing. Most people don't know about it yet, but it's really, really exciting. So if you want more information about us, we do have a QR code up there. Just scan that and it's going to take you to our website, show you what we're all about, how we help you grow food year round. And don't miss our next week, which is going to be focused on the indoor garden show and tell and recipe share. So tons of resources for you. Please like and subscribe, follow, comment if you're growing indoors, or comment if you're not and you need help. Either way, we can definitely help you out. And I'm going to throw the free growing training program up once more. So here it is right here. Email reminders, quick start guides, the best kinds of systems to get going with, support through a knowledgeable community on indoor growing, tons of ways to get started, and we want to be there to help you through the process. So please give that a scan, and we hope to see you on our next Plant or Grow Night and in one of our next classes. And if you happen to be in the greater Washington, D.C. area, Northern Virginia, Cincinnati, Baltimore, or Vancouver, Washington, please come and join us at a live event where you can taste the greens, see how this works, and really understand how the future of growing is both in our homes and in our lives in ways that we never expected. So thanks so much, really appreciate it, and we'll see you at the next Plant or Grow Night or the next